The EPA is creating a warning people, warning the Corps of Engineers, warning government agencies, prevent this from happening. Because if you don't, you're allowing for the poisoning of people in their own backyard.
An algae crisis threatening our treasure coast.
A cycle of despair and disgust amidst promises made and broken.
Billions of gallons of water are rushing from Lake Okeechobee to our coastline.
How much pollution is too much? How much danger is too much? How much before this will stop?
The Army Corps of Engineers created themselves a system in South Florida that places human health at risk by discharging water known to be toxic. The proof of the Army Corps' indifference to poisoning my community has been uncovered within our own committee. The EPA has issued a warning, and we as members of Congress are the only ones who can stop this.
Just some of the craziest looking stuff I've ever seen. The smell is god-awful, even with a mask on.
And look at more of this mess. Our News Channel 5 crew spotting some dead fish in the algae near Alice Street, not far from the Roosevelt Bridge. Fears tonight that more sites like this are to come.
The Corps, who oversees the operation schedule for Lake Okeechobee, has proven year after year that they will continue to poison people in my community if left to their own devices. They've even gone so far as to hide it from our committee and the American people. If there was cyanide in the water, would the Corps of Engineers cease discharging water to these epicenters of human population?
You know, sir, I'm not avoiding your question. I don't have the answer.
If there were lead in the water, would the Corps of Engineers cease discharging water to these epicenters of human population?
Sir, I cannot answer that. I don't know what the tolerable levels are. You know, there are other regulating agencies who do pay attention to what those toxic levels are, and I am confident that they work hand in hand with the Corps as we look at those releases, and it probably needs to involve officials beyond the Corps itself.
The Corps told us they needed to know tolerable levels and that they would work hand in hand with other agencies. In 2019, we worked with the EPA to get a number, a tolerable standard for what human beings should be allowed to come in contact with as it relates to microcystins, the toxic found in these algal blooms. We got the tolerable levels from the EPA. Now the Corps of Engineers must work hand in hand with them to stop these toxic discharges.
We issued some new numbers this spring to set some numeric numbers so that people know what is safe and what's not safe. And for the microcystins, it's 8 micrograms per liter.
With this new standard in place, I went back and asked the Corps of Engineers again, and they were forced to admit what was happening. As the Army Corps of Engineers transferred toxic water from Lake Okeechobee to the east through the C-44 reservoir into the St. Lucie estuary and the Indian River Lagoon, and to the west through the Caloosahatchee River.
Yes, sir. We have conveyed water out the system that has contained cyanobacteria and harmful algae blooms. Yes, sir.
And the Corps considers that toxic?
Yes, sir.
Yet the Army Corps of Engineers continues their discharges and insists to my office that they have the legal right to poison us. So we must tell them that they do not. This should be a number that we rally around and say, thank you, EPA, thank you for putting that on there. We're not going to allow the Corps of Engineers or anybody else to poison us any longer. That number says we have to bring this to an end. That number of 8 parts per billion is a bell that cannot be unrung.